I take and I take hundreds of them, and then she make me retake them.
But you gonna put it on?
So you got to get in it the same way.
Exactly.
This is for our publicity that we're gonna have to be sitting around and they be like, who did the photography?
This our pictures we took.
Oh, no, that's about it.
Well, should I put?
Yeah.
Oh, you got to get like that, boo.
Keep that
Exactly.
cord
You
from
know,
coming
I know if
across.
it's in the daddy blood, it's
No,
in your blood.
you can't see the
Gotta be
cord
like
now.
click, clack, up on
No,
it.
okay, well, that's-
You know, all that there.
How does that work?
Like I will.
Yeah, I mean, okay, good.
So,
All right. Let me take my phone off. And my granddaughter's generally here to take my phone and my keys. Oh, you got my phone, my keys as well. I wanted to, yeah, keep those together. Okay.
so they already know they have to pick me up. No, I'm just joking.
Good?
Wait a minute.
Now this one got wheels.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Don't fall.
So you want me to sit it like off in here?
Oh, no, we're gonna clip it to the
Oh, okay. Yeah. You straight.
back. Get it back.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's go the other way.
Okay.
I got it backwards. The Y going across. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Backwards.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. Miss Greenlee. Okay. And Brother Stevens. Where's that list that, this is my list. There's a second list.
And you fold it up as over
Yeah, now
I
that's,
got no lipstick on my teeth. I always check
Yeah,
my
didn't I
camera
have
out
this?
first. Look.
yeah, okay, good. Okay, Brother Anderson. Yeah, I was looking for this list to make sure I had that. And see, when my granddaughter was here, she was able to run it. Tell her to come and put this on.
Counter.
Come here a little bit, baby. Put that on
Need a mic check.
Huh?
Need a mic check.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still water.
Oh, you might check for me? Okay.
I
Hey, Clemmy G from Tennessee.
Mike check, Steven Anderson.
Steve.
What'd he say? I gotta do it again?
Just kind of count to 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Now, yeah, you're going to have to give us more volume, Brother Anderson.
Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6.
We want you to talk your conversational voice.
Right.
We can cut you up in there so everyone sees.
Okay. All right. Is that better?
So that's how you normally.
Yeah, I'm real loud. Yeah, I'm real loud. I'm real loud.
Yeah. We don't want you screaming.
No. I ain't gonna scream.
Come off very awkward.
Yeah. Now she gonna get hyped.
Count to 10 for me again.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
One more time.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Five.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. We adjusted the wrong mic. So hold on.
Okay, Miss Greenlee. You know, it's good seeing you back again, Miss Greenlee. We missed you for a while, and so what we want to do is to, when we start off, is for you to sort of give us a recount, if you will. You know, this first segment is
One
6
more time.
minutes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
It's been a while since we've had you with us, and so I would imagine many members of our audience would like to know, because your name has come up on a number of occasions. And so you take that part of that 6 minutes to give us some information in reference to who you are, and let us know what you want us to let us know, want the world to know, and then we'll
Dr.
go out
Haney,
of that segment.
look at camera 6.
Okay, is that's me, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so, and of course, Brother Anderson, the same thing for you.
Yes.
See, it's a 6-minute segment, and I'll probably explain this after we start, because I
All right.
want my audience to understand what we're doing too. It's a 6-minute segment, and the first segment is, will give you an opportunity to talk about what I say every time, background, education, and experience.
Okay.
You know, something
Okay.
about yourself.
All right. Okay.
See, and then we'll have a 2-minute break, and then we'll come back with an 8-minute segment.
Okay.
And this is when we will specifically deal with bulletproof.
All right.
So
Right.
that's the
Yeah.
name of the topic for today.
Mhm.
And then we'll have that for 8 minutes, and then we'll have a break and come back with 10 minutes. And we'll simply wrap it up and give some information in reference to that in terms of whatever. But the idea is to get out as much information as we possibly can this morning. Of course, Ms. Greenley's been with me since the very, very beginning. I wish that I could tell you of the number of folks that have come on this show sent by Clammy Greenlee.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm
When
talking
I
about.
can't come, I'm like, hold up, not
Yeah,
that.
that's right.
You
Yeah.
know, like you said, quit trying to make yourself shine all the time. Get somebody else,
Yeah.
you know, a chance.
Yes, sir. So, Brother Steve Anderson, one of my former students.
Yeah, he told me that. He's
Yes.
when I
Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is bulletproof. And we're fortunate to have with us two persons to talk about some of the issues dealing with youth violence and gang violence and guns and et cetera, not only within the African American community, but within the communities across the nation. And of course, I think that many of our audience will recognize our first guest, Ms. Clammy Greenlee. And you will also recall that you might not have seen Ms. Greenlee for the last several months, I would imagine, Ms. Greenlee, on this show. And of course, we'll give you an opportunity during this period, Ms. Greenlee, to talk about that. And of course, with Ms. Greenlee is Mr. Stephen Anderson. And of course, I know Mr. Anderson from way back. I think Mr. Anderson will give you an opportunity during this segment to talk about yourself. And then we'll talk about bulletproof, what we can do in terms of dealing with the wild and raging violence of gun violence, not only in our community, but in communities throughout this nation. And so let's talk about you, Ms. Greenlee.
First of all, let me just thank God for allowing me to be back. Just want to say to my audience, thank you guys for all your prayers. I had a heart transplant surgery, May the 17th, 2018, coming up on my year. Just thanks for all the prayers. Of course, everybody, well, not everybody know, I'm a community advocate for Stop the Violence and Sex Trafficking. my heart has always been with my youth, even during my own kids' death. Coming out here to fight for it and being invited back to your show, you really helped me a lot with putting me on the map. You've helped me a lot with believing in myself, and you helped me a lot to get my information out to the community. So I want to commend you and thank you for that. I will be talking about what we got coming up next because I feel like if God gave me a new heart, he gave me a new start, so I want to come back for part 2.
Very good. Mr. Anderson, what about you and some of the information about yourself?
Well, I'm Stephen Anderson. I'm a former TSU student under Dr. Haney himself, and I really appreciate everything you have done for me in my life. I'm a U.S. Army veteran from inner city Nashville, out of South Nashville. I'm here with Clement Greenlee. We have a program that we're going to discuss today about how to challenge our children's mental stability and to target youth gun violence prevention. I think that is very important that we all as a whole and fall up under one umbrella to address the issues that goes on in our community. So that is what I'm here for, is to help with the community to make a better and safer place for our people.
Ms. Greenlee, during this first segment, let's have you to give us some information from your point of view in reference to what you call bulletproof, this idea of guns and violence and et cetera. Take the next couple of minutes to talk about gun violence in the community and the impact that gun violence is having on the community from your perspective.
Oh, wow. You know, off the top, Dr. Haney, you know, and your audience know how many times I've been here talking about this gun violence, and there's no way that I should be still sitting here in 2019, still talking about the same thing that wish and got outrageous. So I'm the one called Mr. Anderson and asked him would he come and help me and support me and take this to another level. And I wanted to take the word "stop the violence" out of it because it had been used so much that it's just so normal now. You just hear it and that's it. We wanted to come up with something that's really going to be solid. So when we talk about this program that's coming up, it's called Bulletproof. It's a program. He would be talking more on that because that's the vision God gave him. But I seen the proposal that he gave me, and it will work, and I'm excited about it.
Now, how long, Mr. Anderson, over the last minute and a half that we have here, how long have you been working on this project dealing with gun violence and youth violence and et cetera?
I initially started with Earl Jordan, with Partners in the Struggle, and his program dealing with the victims. And for all those years and time, I kept telling my partner, I said, hey, we need to actually go after the problem, which is the youth gun violence. So it's been years since, you know, everyone has been on the table together. Clement been with other people. We've been with a lot of other grassroots organizations and leaders. I've been doing this for a while, trying to get the youth to get some type of redirection from violence. And that's what they're lacking. They don't have the resource that we had coming up, you know, and the inner city community centers and the programs they used to have, they're not there, or they're not attractive to them. So what the Bulletproof program is to get them off the streets, to find them some type of substitute for that drive to be out there.
Very good. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll take our first commercial break, and then we'll be back with our audience following this short commercial break. Is that the name of the program, Bulletproof?
Bulletproofed with ED on it.
Bulletproof.
So it's still under the umbrella Nashville Peacemakers. We just bringing a new.
Yeah, Bulletproof Nashville.
Instead of me talking about straight
Yeah,
talking.
we want.
Did you call it Bulletproof Nashville?
It's Bulletproof in Nashville.
Bulletproof
You got it.
Nashville.
And that is
okay.
You get it. Let me
Okay.
get him the.
Yeah, put that name onto it. Put Bulletproof Nashville.
I like that.
Yeah. And what you're trying to do is to find out how you might be able to proof the community from all of this gun violence,
All this
and
mayhem.
bullets and whatever. Yes. Yeah, well, that's what we want to do. And so we'll have 8 minutes when we come back. Thank you, and welcome back to the second segment of the show for today. We're talking to Ms. Greenlee and Mr. Stevenson, and the topic is Bulletproof Nashville. And of course, let me welcome the two of you, Ms. Greenlee and Mr. Stevenson, back to the second segment here, and to talk about the program that you have for the community this morning, not only for Nashville, but for every community that might be affected or infected by bullets and guns and et cetera. And so we'll have you to talk about bringing the two of you together, and then to have Mr. Stevenson to give us some idea in terms of how the program is structured, and we'll take that last segment to make critical statements in reference to it.
As always, I've always said that whatever's supposedly be out here for our youth is not working. So it's time for everybody, the schools, the parents, the elected officials, police department, mayor, everybody, to try something different. And I do and have always believed that I have something different to offer, because one thing about it, and he had said it earlier, we don't have all the connections and all the programs we had when we grew up. A lot of things is not here when we grew up, and we have to accept that. So we have to have these kids with their imagination to tell us what it is that they need and they would like for us to bring back to the community and do it. I keep telling folks, quit saying, when I was your age, I this and that. Because you know when you was our age, you didn't even have a computer, cell phone, color TV, and none of that. So the kids don't want to hear all that. And so we're trying to come up with something that we know is going to benefit their minds. That's why I like talking to them. Everybody say, just talk to the youth, they'll tell you. Well, evidently you're talking to them, but you're not listening to them, because they done told you what it is to do. So we want to come in, me and Mr. Steve, one more time with another program, and we want to make sure that we present it right, but we want to make sure that it get funded right. And we also want to make sure that the community help us with it this time, because these are your children. Let me just say this, these are your children. Yes. These are my babies and my cousins and nephews and grandsons that's out here doing all this, not everybody else's kids. And let me just touch base with this. I saw the Facebook page where there were 70 young black boys got accepted to Harvard University and Princeton. And I know for a fact that all of us have that in us. But there is 1% of kids out here that's left behind. And so God gave me that 1% to go save. Everybody got their own to go get the issues. This is the issues I chose, and this is the issues that I want to take a part of. And this is the program that I want to come out next.
Let's, Mr. Stevenson, have you to give our audience some idea in terms of the genesis or the origin of this Bulletproof Nashville program and some of the elements. We've got about 5 minutes, and it'll give you an opportunity to talk about what you consider to be some of the most important elements of this program and why the community ought to support you. I know, Mr. Stevenson, you might think that you have something new to say. There is absolutely, as Ms. Greenlee said, absolutely nothing that is new in reference to what we're doing here. And so anything that you have in terms of talking about youth violence, shootings, killings, and anything, it might encourage somebody else. And so let's do it from that perspective.
Well, first, I don't know. I might be the first to say this, but I want to give thanks to men like you who've been mentors and silent leaders in our life. And we're missing that in our community. A lot of men are not there in the households. So this is one of the problems that's causing this epidemic of youth gun violence. The men need to step up. The women in all demographics and all elements of life have been there on the forefront for these kids and fighting for these kids. And yes, I think I want to be the first to say it is something new I want to say. Bulletproof need men to help this problem that we have with the youth gun violence. It's sad to say, when we came up, we didn't have this problem. You didn't hear of such things. Then you got 11-year-olds getting locked up for gun violence. I think that if we come together and stop, trying to be so much against each other, and find a common solution with getting these kids some place to go. Not everyone wants to go to college. Now everyone wants to go be a doctor or whatever profession want to be. They just want to live an ordinary life, but they don't have the tools to get that. Our program, we have a lot of wraparound resources that we use, straight talk, back to basics. The moms have a lot of programs that help with this. We even teaching life skills, how to build things, carpentry work, be an entrepreneur, cooking classes with Sterling Wright. But the funding and the resources is not there for us to do it on the scale that we want to do it on. So we have
On the scale that it needs to be done.
that it needs to be
Put
done
the
on.
resources
To
in there.
Put the resources, put the funding into the resources, shall I say?
Resources.
Because we have the resources, and we have able bodies. We have people that's in the communities willing to participate. Well, not willing, they do participate.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the funding's not there, so they can't be there all the time like me and Clemmy can. Because I'm an entrepreneur myself. I've been doing T-shirts since TSU, since 1993. And that's my bread and butter, but a lot of people who help do not have that luxury to do that. And so that is what we're trying to do, is get the funding. If not get the funding, get outside help. We can do it ourselves. We don't have to wait for the government. Our own people, our own communities. And when I say people, I'm not just saying a color. I'm just talking about our people in the community, period. The mom and pop stores, the pawn shops, the grocery stores. And we do get some type of funding from, some of our sponsors, or the grocery stores and other things, but we need more people to interact so we can save our future. This is not just their future, this is our future. Because these kids gonna come back home, they're gonna get older, and what happened is, if they're not trained or deprogrammed from the mindset they're in, it's gonna continue to fester.
Yeah.
Go on.
And so, with that being said, Dr. Haney, I think a platform like yours is well needed. I think every grassroots leader or organizations out there need to come on this show or come on every show so it can be broadcast or televised to get the information out there. You don't know what that child's doing. That child might be sitting at home just looking at television, and you might reach maybe 10 or 10,000 of them, but they gonna know. But if they don't have the tools or the knowledge, then they would not know. And they still gonna continue to go through their life with the mental stability they have. Every one of these kids that comes into this system, they have PTSD. They are traumatized by something. But instead we lock them up and then we make it worse.
So what we'll do, we'll take our second commercial break, and we'll be back with our audience following this short commercial break. Exactly.
And I never got a chance to get back to tell you. I told you thank you so many times in school, but
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you.
I just wonder where Charles Davis fell off at.
Well, but what we want to do during this last 10 minutes is anything that you think that you might want to say in reference to it. We'll start with you, Ms. Greenlee. and
Yeah,
then
I
we'll
wanna
just go
tell-
back and
Piggyback
forth,
off
back
of
and
her.
forth. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell them about the uncomfortable conversations I'm finna start.
Go ahead.
And I want these kids to come. I'm finna
piggyback.
start a little podcast called Clemmy G TV, hashtag uncomfortable conversation. So I'm gonna bring in people her age to come in and talk to us because they the one gonna tell, and it's gonna be uncomfortable. Well, I'm tired of seeing my mama get beat, or I'm tired of seeing my mama doing drugs in front of my face, or I'm tired of seeing, they gonna be the one to talk, and it's gonna be uncomfortable. But this is how we gonna help them, and we find out what it is that they doing, and then we
Okay.
won't start a I got 5 on it. I'm gonna start a I got 5 on it campaign. We want to tap into that and see what y'all drop in $5 on me for me to stay out here. And then where is the 6-week program at Oasis? I ain't gonna say their name. When they ended 6 weeks, they out. And so the boy who just shot that Uber driver, he just came out of the 6 weeks program at Oasis. Why did he get back in trouble that quick? There was no mentor there, no big brother there, and nobody who took him in.
follow.
So where is our after school program? I am it.
No, we've got 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We've got 10 minutes on this.
We are it.
Thank you. Welcome back to the final segment of the show for today. We're talking to Ms. Greenlee and Mr. Stevenson in reference to youth violence, guns and violence, and some of the other issues within the communities, not only African communities, but within communities all across the nation, as well as within our local communities. Let's talk about that, Ms. Greenlee, for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I've been called state to state for this violence, and I tell people all the time, I go to them and get ready to go to Mississippi, leaving out this Friday, but I want to clean up my own community. So I'm starting a TV show myself called Clemmy G TV, hashtag uncomfortable conversations. And this is going to consist of me bringing in the youth also and hear what they got to say. Also, we are looking at an after school program that fit them. We're the one that's going to have their back. We're the one that's going to have what they're really looking for. And I've said it over and over and over. I am it. I am the after school program. No one would chance me. So you got people going through these programs, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, but after that, they have no follow-up. And I'm saying this because I took my grandson through one, and he ended up getting back in trouble twice. So we have to have follow-ups, and we have to have mentors behind it. We also starting a I Got 5 on It campaign. So give me your $5 and let me continue to work with your nephews and your cousins. Also, the TV show will be held at The Lab, Nashville, 624 Jefferson Street.
And of course, you probably have an opportunity to introduce your program at such an event. Mr. Stevenson, talk about it from that perspective.
Okay, the program is called Bulletproof Inc. And like Clemmy said, it's to Bulletproof Nashville. She's willing to take on all these 1% kids that are left out there. A lot of people are afraid to take them on, and when they do take them on, there's so many stipulations and the guidelines that the parents are not able to, help keep them in there, and plus be a working parent or supportive. Some of these children come out of broken homes, so their mental stability is challenged. What should I do? How can I help moms out? I got a baby sister that has sickle cell, or I got a little brother who has special needs. So what do I need to do? We know these because we talk to these youth. And the thing is, nobody's doing nothing about it but Clemmy. The program we have is not a 6-week program. We're trying, with Bulletproof program, the proposal is to have 24-hour facilities, revolving doors, just like the prisons and jails and the hospitals. These kids need a 24-hour revolving door. They could come in any weird hours. Their mom might be in to get jumped on. A mom or dad probably high. And you don't know. You don't live this life. So the program is to give these kids the opportunity to better themselves instead of leaving them out there
Get them off the street somewhere.
Keep them off the street. Not just in the program. Also, Dr. Haney, we're trying to implement where we can fund or pay these children to stay off the street, like a college. It's like street college, should I say? Go do a trade skill. Want to partner with Uber and Lyft if they got programs or appointments or some type of counseling they need to get to. They get there with just by being in the program. The main thing I want to talk about with our program is that I think we'll be the only program that will facilitate a number of kids in a facility that holds all the resources inside of it. They don't have to go nowhere else. All the resources there. It's Young Women and Miss Clemens Back to Basics program. You'll be surprised that these females don't know how to do certain things, personal things, hygiene. They don't have that. And that leads to what? Their mental stability, their challenge. What can I do? I got to learn how to do this. And so they drop out of school, they're on the streets, and then they led into something else, which is not their fault. As a society, as upstanding citizens and people, the community, we are failing our youth. And I think it's our problem that we need to deal with it. It's problematic, it's easy, and I think that we can find the easy solution, but the main thing is the funding. And that's why Clemmy here discussed, I Got 5 on it campaign, $5 or whatever you can give to the campaign to help us bring about funding for our program.
Well, let's look at it from this perspective, Ms. Greenlee. Understanding all of the problems associated with what the two of you are trying to do, and you talk about the need for funding and et cetera. And I think you've got a program, you say $5. Well, now $5, it might be great if you're running some kind of campaign and you can get a lot of $5 bills. But I think that in terms of meeting the needs that you have in terms of financial resources, I think that your aim ought to be much greater in terms of how the kind of resources that you're looking for, because you're looking for large numbers of, you're talking about grants and stipends and all other kind of things that, and so there has to be some organization or some group or somebody that might be listening to us or might have heard about what the two of you are doing, that might have the kind of knowledge and information that the two of you need in order to tap the resources for all of this wealth that's out there, because the wealth is out there. I mean, the facilities, there are people out there with the ability to give to the two of you facilities, stipends, and anything else, because it's either you pay for something through what the two of you are doing, or pay for it by way of the criminal justice system. And I think we know how many people, when we talk about crime and incarceration and et cetera, the two of you are trying to deal with that. You said, and that's a tremendous cost for the state of Tennessee. And somebody ought to be willing to give a few dollars to keep a few of these young people off the streets. And I think,
well, let me say, Dr. Haney, you said what we already done discussed. I contacted the mayor. I had a meeting with the vice mayor. We had luncheon with the vice mayor. The thing is, the I Got Fired campaign is not really for the government. I Got Fired means you can get $5 or more. Let's clear that up. Y'all can give 5 or more. 5, 50, 5,000, 500,000, 5 million. But the thing is, we need it just as fast as you want these kids off the streets doing heinous things. That's how fast we need. It's the urgency.
So let me say this very quick, because I know we run out of time. I've already asked, I said, give me $50,000 in 90 days and get out of my way and let me show you what we could do with the one community. I haven't got there yet. I asked for $100,000 because that allow us to get our own building or some kind of 4-5 bedroom house to work out of it, to show them what we could do. But $1.1 million would really show us, let us show you what we can do. So right now we are looking at the old Crestview nursing home that's sitting over there empty off of 2030 Clarksville Highway. Whoever owned that nursing home, could you please contact me? Clemmy Greenlee, 615-589-8984. My website, NashvillePeacemakers.org. That facility would be the wraparound facility for people of color, and we can put everything in that who is sitting there. It was sold for $100,000, so that means whoever wanted it was through with it. So somebody need to give it to us, let us fix it up, and let us do what we've been trying to do. Crestview Nursing and Health Facility on Clarksville Highway is on Clarksville Avenue is empty. Somebody please help us get it.
Well, I think I've heard people talk about that, and so
just sitting there.
It's just nobody to use it and whatever. And that facility is right in the middle of some of the things
right in the hood of all of that we can work on.
6,700 plus acres of living space.
And like he said, we got people, we got psychiatrists, we got therapists, we got doctors, we got people who wants to come in and help.
Well, I tell you, we're nearing the end of this show for today, but I hope that by some of the things that we've said in reference to the outcomes of what you're trying to do, I might encourage somebody to get in touch with the two of you, or get in touch with the people who own the facility that might be able to get in touch with you. And you might not have to expect to have it as a gift. You might be able to create a situation where you could actually purchase it.
That's what we want to do.
That's what we want.
I would
so
imagine.
They don't take it from us. We can keep going
just
with it.
buy it. And so what we'll do, let me thank the two of you for giving us that information. And let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and